Today we'll be discussing The Mandalorian Chapters 1 and Chapter 2. See you in a sec. Hey, welcome to the show. This is Star Wars for Breakfast here on Pulp Mythos. I'm Brian, joined by Spencer.
Yes, that's my name.
If you have, hopefully you've seen us before. If not, welcome to the channel. We've done a lot. Game of Thrones is a show that we talk about often now that a new show is coming. So.
Yeah, I don't know what that's going to be. We also have a really high watched video about Into the Badlands.
Yeah, Into the Badlands. We did Into the Badlands. I think that's the biggest video on the channel.
No idea why, but
I have no idea why.
People really enjoyed that
we
show.
do. What's another big one we do? Westworld. We enjoy Westworld, but
that's coming back soon too.
It is coming back, and we will be covering it here on Pulp Mythos. But right now, it's Star Wars for Breakfast. This show will basically run through the end of the holiday season. December 27th is the final episode of The Mandalorian, which obviously we will be covering. So every week we're going to drop these videos probably Sunday night, Monday mornings, and we'll be discussing the previous week's Friday release of The Mandalorian. We're also going to be talking about other Star Wars things. There's a new movie coming out. There's a new video game. A lot of rumors and different things floating around. So we may talk about other things than The Mandalorian, but The Mandalorian will be the primary thing we discuss here.
My ADD will probably get off on at least a couple different
It's a lot, yeah.
tangents, at least.
So we're going to kick off here. Full spoilers. Everything we do is spoilers. So if you're not interested in that, we'll just give you our first impressions with the first two episodes of The Mandalorian.
Well, that being said, there hasn't been a whole lot of reviews.
Not really. I mean, and people are already spoiling everything in thumbnails. If you're on YouTube, the ending of the first episode, I guess that's sort of a spoiler. That's something they didn't promote.
Yeah.
But initial impressions, I'm loving it. There you go. All right.
Yeah, I quite enjoy it. I mean, it's the Disney Plus program itself has the quality of just the visuals, not just like what they're doing.
Sorry for the little quick cut there, little distraction, but we're back and we're in our first impressions, and you were saying something. I don't know what it was. I don't know. We like the show.
We're talking about the HD quality of just Disney Plus in general. I was watching it with my kids. We watched Cars, Monster Inc. I was watching Empire. I was watching a lot of the shows, and the quality of it is, I mean, I have Blu-rays, I have, all those things, but the Ultra HD and the Ultraviolet or whatever, it plays very clearly, and I play it through my Xbox. Plug the Xbox if you want to give me anything free. But they, thanks Microsoft, but they have I just have a regular Xbox One. Yeah. They don't have the S or the X or anything, and the quality is still very high.
Yeah, the quality is solid. I agree. I know there were some issues on the launch day. Some people were having a difficult time getting in. I didn't have any issues. So I guess it wasn't everybody. Some people had issues. But as far as I know, by the second day, as far as I know, there were no longer any issues.
Just like Disney, you go to the parks and there's a piece of anything on the ground, it's gone, touched up paint, everything.
They'll fix it eventually. So we're going to jump into the first episode, and we're going to break down what we liked, if there's anything we didn't like, which I don't know if there is. And and then we'll jump into the second episode. So here we go.
The only thing I don't like is Boba. All of them, they have that little rope launcher thing.
Yeah.
How the hell are they holding something that's like, the cable is so small. Like, I'm not thinking rope. You can't launch rope out of a.
Well, Django did it in Clone Wars, the film, Attack of the Clones.
That's what I'm saying. But holding on to it is the difficult part. I think. Yeah. Like using it and it being attached to something would be easier, but holding on to
Boba
it.
Fett, he did use it in Jedi. Yeah, I don't know. I think they in Return of the Jedi they established that Mandalorians have a little rope
A
thing,
little grappling hook.
and so that's just they're like that's their thing.
And
Same
that's
with the
okay.
flamethrower,
I'm just
yeah.
talking about holding it. That would be very
Yeah.
difficult, that thin of a...
But yeah, because you would think there'd be some kind of device. It
Maybe
doesn't
they're-
look as practical,
No.
Yeah,
Maybe their
yeah.
gloves are super sticky or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
but
They have wide receiver gloves.
Chapter 1 was just called Chapter 1, as far as I know. And it started on a cold planet. And the Mandalorian walking to a bar.
I don't know if it was cold or not, or if, just like in desert areas, up at higher altitude, there's a little bit of snow.
That's
or something.
true.
So it
Well,
could've
yeah.
just been-
I'm trying to think when he left the planet, what was the color? I can't remember. I don't know. Star Wars is weird with their one climate planets they like. But he goes into a bar. There's a bunch of guys. Great scene, great introduction. Very much setting up the idea that this is sort of a Western. And a bunch of guys mad, picking a fight with the Mandalorian for no real reason.
To me, that was reminiscent of New Hope, though. When he walked
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
cantina,
absolutely. Yeah,
a lot of it felt like New Hope, like right off the bat. Except Luke didn't go buck wild crazy and whoop everybody. But the very intro to me, just like they've done with the newer movies, a lot of the other shows, it's always a little intro that's a tie-in to the originals, and I like that because it tied it in, but it wasn't there for very long.
He ends up taking this blue guy played by Horatio Sands.
Which
Which
that
is-
took us a second.
Yeah.
A little bit of research.
Takes him out of the bar, basically reveals to him that you are, there's a bounty on you and I'm here to collect. Puts the bounty puck, they call it, which, I guess gives basically a wanted poster. And he has a great line, I don't know if I wrote it down, but it was, I could take you in warm or cold, or, puts his hand on his gun, alluding to, I'll shoot you if you don't, play nice.
Yeah. And as a human, as somebody who doesn't want to die, you would probably choose that.
He takes blue guy out. I don't know if they ever said his name.
They did, but it's like mythal.
Horatio Sands takes him out, and he needs a ride to get to his ship. For whatever reason, he parked his ship in the middle of the ice. So he goes to this little dude. He plays a little flute, his little saxophone or whatever, and a droid pulls up. And this is the first establishing that the Mandalorian does not like droids, which they give you a little hints later as to why.
To me, that kind of ties in, and we talked about it. Look at Django. The reason Boba doesn't like Jedis is because his dad got his head chopped off by Mace. So the flashback later on shows that it looks like droids coming down and kind of killing his family and where his tribe was. So Mandalorians look like they hate for our life.
Yeah.
Once they hold a grudge, it's there forever.
When they lose trust in something.
Yeah.
Definitely. So Brian Posehn pulls up in a speeder and takes them to the Mandalorian ship, which is a pre-Empire ship, which they state.
It looked like the Clone Wars drop ships where they're dropping off the troops.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, something that maybe he took and he outfitted it with something. I don't know. Brian Posehn is killed, and by a giant walrus gator thing. The ship it makes it out, and then we're treated to a nice, somewhat quiet sequence of Horatio Sands, blue alien, trying to have a conversation with the Mandalorian, which leads to him being frozen in carbonite.
Well, it was like he was trying to find a way off and be nosy, but knows that he's stuck because they were already in space by that point.
Yeah, exactly. He makes a reference to Life Day, which was nice. So then, and that's another thing about the show. The show is very straightforward, scene by scene. There's not, it's an easy show to break down scene by scene because there's not that many. There's not a whole lot happening, and that's not a negative. But we will talk a little later about the lengths of the episode. But he makes it down to a planet to turn in his bounties. And he is basically told that there is a very
That the Predator is around the corner.
yeah, exactly.
Oh wait, that's wrong movie.
That there is a bounty out there that pulls a much bigger paycheck, but it's sort of off
Somebody
the
with
books.
deep pockets.
Yeah, it's sort of off the books, but you might be interested in checking out that bounty. So then he makes his way to
Downtown, walking fast.
A group of guys. He basically makes his way to the job, and it's some kind of imperial remnant, basically.
Which they alluded to earlier that the Empire has gone away.
Empire's gone away. Yeah, he was they were going to pay him in imperial credits, and he's like, "There is no empire. I don't want those."
Yeah, so for this to come up, and how they were telling him they were going to pay him is how he made his armor or whatever, but that apparently is real valuable. What they were going to use.
Yeah, the empire is called Beskar.
That's what it was. I couldn't remember the name of it.
So the imperial dudes, yeah, they're like, "Yo," which was interesting to me. Clearly, they had researched who they wanted. They had heard about the Mandalorian, and they knew that he would really like Beskar still. This is something that Mandalorians had lost a lot of. It was stolen from them, and they use it to build their armor.
Yeah. But the steel himself, I thought that was a real cool part when we talked about that, the armor, when they went to go talk to the lady who was forging all their armor and stuff. There's a lot of, and you pointed it out because you had seen it somewhere else, that it looked like Boba Fett.
So, yes, when he goes into the Mandalorian hangout, or whatever you want to call it, people have pointed out that there's one standing in a corner that very much, the color scheme on his outfit looks like Boba Fett. People have lit up the image. Is it just an Easter egg, or is that legitimately going to be Boba Fett? Is he going to be a character that pops in later? We don't know. Yeah, we saw him in the Sarlacc pit, but...
Well, I think with the non-success of the Han Solo movie, because I think that's where they were going to go next, was going to do a Boba movie. But it did so poorly, and I think that it was just real, it didn't flow well. The chemistry wasn't the same. I mean, I didn't hate it, but it was probably one of my least favorite outside of the prequels, as far as Star Wars movies go. But I think this is a way to tie a very popular character back in an easy way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, how important he would be if he came in, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So before he gets the Beskar still to go meet the Mandalorians, we meet a very weird guy. He's got this outfit on. People have pointed out he has a patch on his arm, and there's been discussion that it's a Kaminoan patch. And if it is, and he works for he's from Kamino, those are cloners. Mm-hmm. So the theory is he either is trying to get a clone, or he's trying to get something that he can clone. And we'll go into what that is later, because it is revealed at the end of the episode. So he goes to the Mandalorian base. He has his Beskar still, and we're treated to a very cool sequence, my favorite in the episode, next to the ending, where the Mandalorian is getting armor forged.
The Forger's helmet is probably my favorite. The armorer's helmet, because it looks almost like a Roman kind of.
It has like horns.
Or not even Roman, but more Spartan.
Oh yeah.
And she's got like the fur.
There's
around
fur.
her.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's also when we get the flashbacks that allude to the Mandalorian's past, and where his hatred for droids come from. It looks like they were attacked by droids. Now, there's still a lot of questions. They reference the purge. The Beskar still was taken during a purge of some kind. Don't really know what that is yet.
Well, and it could be in reference to what happened, because the flashbacks, it looks like they were killing everybody.
That's what it looked like.
But, throughout Star Wars, there's been a lot of areas that have fought against other people. Mandalorians themselves were very warring kind of tribes before they kind of united and stuff. According to the cartoon, like they all kind of got together. But it's one of those things where it could have just been another group of people. It could have been the Empire. Could have been back to the Clone Wars if we're talking about droids coming and kind of taking out, because Clone Wars cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the droid's kind of coming down, so I don't know how far back that's supposed to go.
So he's met with the people who give him the job. They want him to retrieve somebody. All he's told is they're 50 years old and bring them back alive. It's okay to bring them back dead, but preferably alive. He gets his payment, he goes and forges his armor, and now he heads to a planet which suspiciously looks like Tatooine. Not sure if it is, but it has all the Tatooine stuff. Well, you know, you have Jawas and it's desert and stuff like that.
Now, all the different races that they show in this movie, or in this show, I like because, have you seen the old like bounty hunter posters? It's got like Weequay and IG-88 and, you know, Dangar and like all those people. All those people were in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
All the races were in this episode. Like when he goes to pick up this bounty, it was all the Weequay, like the not quite Bosk people, because that's in, I think, episode 2, or the Bosk. But to me, it shows a lot of the different bounty hunter races that they've shown in the movies.
Also,
I think that's a cool tie-in.
A lot of practical effects, a lot of makeup, a lot of costumes throughout both episodes, which is really nice.
Well, even right before he goes to see the armor, the little eye that pops out.
Yeah.
It looks like a tennis ball on the end of a stick, but it's practical. It's not, you know, this CGI thing that pops out, does and comes back in. It's someone built that. It's just like click, click.
When he arrives to the planet, he's attacked by these weird T-Rex, fat T-Rex things. I don't know how to describe them. Big mouth, tiny arms.
It's like if T-Rexes were herbivores.
Yeah.
They're really pissed off.
And he's saved by Nick Nolte. This dude, the voice played by Nick Nolte, and
well, it's funny because he even looks like him. It's not.
The thing that everybody's saying is his catchphrase is "I have spoken." So you know when he's finished with a conversation, he just simply says "I have spoken" and he walks away. That's it. So he basically tells the Mandalorian, "Look, there's a lot of drama around here. I don't like it. I'll help you get your bounty if it'll stop the conflict." You know, because a lot of bounty hunters have been traveling to that region. And so
I'm assuming to get the same.
That's the assumption. So first he needs to teach the Mandalorian how to ride one of those little T-Rex things. Nice little simple sequence.
Well, it's funny because it looks like every Western scene of someone trying to learn to ride a horse.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, or tame a mare or whatever.
So then he teaches the Mandalorian. They jump on these little things and they start riding to where they need to go. Now there's a cool little musical piece that plays the sort of the theme of the series, if you pay attention. I've heard some people that don't like the music because I guess they don't think it's Star Wars enough. I sort of see their point, but I disagree with it. It's more Western. Some pieces have a Star Wars vibe, but for the most part, no. It's a very unique sounding soundtrack, and I think I prefer it because the idea here, at least I think, is sure it's in the Star Wars universe, but I think they want the freedom to be able to do something different. And in this case, we're doing essentially a Western.
Well, to
series.
me, even the little intros where they're showing the writing and everything. Tarantino does a lot of spaghetti Western style movies, but that's what it felt like. When Chapter 1 pops up, it says The Mandalorian, that font, and then it just says Chapter 1 looks like that. Chapter 2, the same way. Like the way it popped in, it feels like a spaghetti Western.
Yeah.
Which
is cool. He arrives at the location. It's covered. There's a lot of people there. And then another bounty hunter pops in, an IG unit, IG-11, which is basically IG-88.
Same thing.
Same thing. And they proceed to have a huge firefight with the people there. Funny little gag that runs throughout it is the IG unit, every time he thinks that he's going to be captured or lose the battle, he goes into a self-destruct mode. It was humorous. It was just the right tone. I actually quite like that sequence.
I like that the Mandalorian kept having to like talk him off a ledge over and
Yes.
over.
Stop. He's like, stop trying to self-destruct. They finally defeat all the people there. They make their way inside the building, and the big reveal, the big twist, the thing that everybody's talking about is who the target is. And the target is, in fact, whatever Yoda is, but a baby version. It is 50 years old, but they live to be like 1,000,
Baby
900. So everybody's calling it Baby Yoda, which is what I think I'll be calling it for the remainder of this discussion.
Thinking about it though, because Yoda died,
Yes.
but how long ago was that? Because if this happens a couple years after Episode 6,
Yoda would have only
Yoda would have
been
been
dead.
like what, 15 years in?
Not
ish.
even.
Well,
That's
between
because
5 and
Jedi,
6.
Yoda dies in Jedi.
At the beginning.
So it's probably only about 5 or so years. Because it would have been in Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm. Have they said when exactly this takes place or no?
I heard 5 years, about 5 years.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I heard some
I'm
people.
not saying that they're related.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
just-
Well, some people have speculated because if it's 50 years old, I mean, Yoda, it could be Yoda's offspring. It could be not. It could be a clone. There's some theories that it's a clone. I don't know. I'm assuming we're going to start getting those answers in the next episode, because the big question is, why was it being guarded in this fortress?
Yeah.
Why did they want? Oh, the ending. The IG unit tells the Mandalorian that he was sent to kill it.
Yeah.
There was not a live option. So,
Keep it if you can.
so Mandalorian kills the IG unit and saves Baby Yoda. Now the question is,
Why?
who's sending people to kill it? So clearly there's two groups. There's the Imperial group wants it alive, preferably, and then there's another group wanting it dead. Now, you could speculate if the Imperial group wants to use it for something bad, then maybe the ones who want it dead could even be the good guys.
Yeah, it could be the rebellion or
Could
some
be.
kind of, remnants of the rebellion.
Could be.
Or even looking into Episode 7, it's those freedom fighters from there, because it's, I don't know.
So the show's length is shorter than I thought it was going to be. I thought each episode was going to be an hour. There's proven to be more in the 30 to 40 minute range. I didn't have an issue with that. I know people are debating it right now, whether or not the length of it. If as long as you tell your story and it's entertaining, who cares?
Well, and that's the thing, as long as they're not structured to 39-minute timeline every single time, the second episode's a little bit shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the third episode, if they have more to tell and it's 46 minutes or something,
Exactly.
that's my thing, because I don't feel like there's a whole lot of filler, which
No.
is a, high five to them, because that's a big feat to be able to do.
The whole format of 22 minutes or 47 minutes comes from advertisement. Television's format is all built around advertising and commercial breaks, etc. So the fact that they're saying, it'll be as long as it needs to be to tell the story, I'm completely okay with that.
And is it Filion?
Yes, Nathan Fillion.
Dave.
Is it Dave? Dave Fillion. Wow. Who am I thinking? I'm thinking of
Game of Thrones?
no. Who am I thinking of? I don't know. I'm thinking of somebody.
Is that the dude from, it's the guy from Serenity, Firefly, Nathan Fillion?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. Which makes sense.
Yes.
I'm thinking of, yes.
Yeah.
Or Captain Hammer.
Yeah.
Okay. Off topic.
Castle.
Yeah,
Oh,
Castle.
really?
There you go. Yeah, the dude that does the Clone Wars cartoon and Rebels is heavily involved in this. John Favreau.
Yeah,
as
he
well. Creator.
Created
creator.
and wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first episode he directed, but not the second.
No, Fillion directed
Did
the
he?
first one.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was a strong first episode, and it definitely. I love the fact that I didn't have to wait a whole week for the second episode.
Yeah.
Second episode actually aired on the Friday. The first episode airing on the Tuesday that Disney Plus launched. Now we have to start waiting a week, between episodes.
I was hoping that they'd do like 2 a week and do.
The schedule is it's pretty much every Friday with the exception of the week that Rise of Skywalker comes out. Then it'll come out on the Wednesday.
But that, a streaming service, because people binge watch stuff all the time, you don't really have to have a schedule. It's kind of
That's true.
It's
And Disney was looking at the idea of, so Netflix allows you to binge everything, but there's been a concern that, okay, a show drops, you binge it, and then you have
to wait 11 and a half months.
Not
for
only
the next-
that, but it only trends for that week, maybe 2 weeks. Where this is going to be talked about, Mandalorian is going to be talked about for 2 months. Every single week, it's going to get some kind of discussion. Websites are going to talk about it, YouTubers, etc. So
I think it's going to give people a different idea of a different kind of format. I think doing both is a good idea, having both kinds of content. But to me, doing something like this, they're trying to basically lead it up to Episode 9.
Mhm.
They're trying to keep Star Wars in everybody's mind until
yeah,
that's
smart because episode will hit on a Wednesday on the, I don't know what day of the week that is, but
17th.
then
No, 18th, because the 19th is the Thursday. It comes out.
yes, and then Star Wars drops that week.
Thursday night.
And then you jump ahead the next week after Christmas on the 27th, the final episode of Mandalorian.
Right before the weekend where Star Wars is still in the movie
So
theater.
you're gonna, it's very, from a marketing standpoint, very smart. But yeah, first episode is solid. We're gonna talk about the second episode here in a minute, but we're gonna take a little break. So, welcome back. We're going to jump into Chapter 2, The Child.
After this commercial break.
The second episode, as we stated earlier, was shorter. It told a very straightforward story, but it was very entertaining. It was a solid half hour, and it opened up with the Mandalorian transporting Baby Yoda through a canyon, and then they were attacked by basically whatever Bosk, which I used to know the name of it.
Lizard people.
Lizard people. So 2 Bosks attack the Mandalorian, trying to kill the baby. We see that they have the device showing that they're in a bounty hunters guild, and the Mandalorian shows us what Mandalorians can do with their special equipment, their rifles. He vaporizes.
Which I thought was cool because, like we talked about, they talk about that, but they've never really showed it.
Yes. So we get to see them vaporize one of the Bosks. That's what I'll call it. The cool thing is when they vaporize, it only does the matter.
Their clothes are still
the
there.
clothes stay there, so it's only the biological part that's wiped out, which is cool. After that, the Mandalorian is wounded. He's repairing his wounds. OJ break. And Baby Yoda gets out of his little crib and attempts to, I'm assuming, heal the Mandalorian or whatever, help him. Mandalorian's confused by why he keeps getting up, so he just keeps putting him back in the little...
His floating bassinet.
Exactly, yeah. Cute little scene. The first beginnings of, as we said, full spoilers, alluding that he has Force abilities. He's doing the little reaching out thing. We then enter a sequence where the Mandalorian approaches his ship and it's being scrapped by Jawas. And then he kills probably like 4 or 5 of them, vaporizes them. They jump in their tank fortress, take off, and we are treated to essentially Indiana Jones for the next 3 to 4 minutes.
Well, it was funny because they'd like poke their head out and you'd punch one of them, grab one of them, throw them out. They're throwing like trash cans and water heaters at him.
Yeah.
It was,
He does the whole thing where they try to slam him against the side of the mountain, and he,
It's that old car trope where they're like trying to shake him off, but it's on a giant tank.
Yeah, the whole thing, it's great. It reminded me a lot of Indiana Jones. Real fun sequence. Mandalorian gets to the top finally, but then he gets zapped and he falls down. He's then saved yet again by Nick Nolte.
Sideburns.
And he's basically told that, oh, before that, he goes back to his ship. He goes back to his ship and he realizes his guns are missing, which really seems to irritate him. Then he goes to Nick Nolte. So Nick Nolte basically tells him, look, they're Jawas, they can be bartered with, it's cool, we'll go talk to them, we'll figure something out. And they do that. And then we are treated to another really entertaining sequence in which the Mandalorian is trying to barter with the Jawas. At first they tell him he has to remove his weapons, and he says a really cool line, I'm a Mandalorian, weapons are my religion. You know, which Spencer pointed out how mad he got when he realized his weapons were gone.
Yeah, and that was a big nod to that, because it's a part where later in the episode it's, you know, these are my religion, but it explains why he's so mad that it was his guns that were missing. The rest of the ship, like, he was frustrated, but he went down there. That was the first place he checked, was to see if his weapons were still there.
And if you even go back to Boba Fett always carrying his blaster, always, like they have, Mandalorians are very big on their weapons being with them. They treat them nice. They, you know, that's a part of their culture, who they are. And
well, even if you look at armor and everything else, him getting his armor forged was such a big deal because he could only get one piece of it, and that's a huge deal to him. So you imagine that their outfits, armors, weapons, those kind of things are highly valued to their...
Yeah. So the Jawas, they have a back and forth. They tell him he sounds like a Wookiee when he tries to speak Jawa language.
And he tries to set him on fire.
He tries to set him on fire. They're laughing. It's a whole thing. They basically come to a deal. If he can get them the egg,
the Cadbury egg,
then they'll give him his ship pieces back. So he agrees, and they travel to this cave in the ground, this big hole in the ground.
And prior to spoiling what happened with the Cadbury egg, like I'm thinking that they want this egg to trade for something. They want to,
I didn't
keep
really
the
know
animal.
what they,
So,
yeah, it doesn't really. You just there's an egg that they want, and you assume it's valuable for whatever reason. So he gets to the cave thing. He goes in, and it's a giant rhino carpet monster. That's what it, yeah. Cool battle ensues. Mandalorian is getting destroyed in this battle. His chest plate is just ripped off, wrecked. He can't use his guns.
well, yeah, because they're all covered in mud and everything. And then it shows him, because it shows him preparing for it and shoving that little knife in his boot.
Yes.
So he pulls that out as the last line of defense. It's this little knife against this giant rhinoceros-looking thing.
And then finally, the big reveal.
Baby Yoda has force powers.
Baby Yoda's force sensitive and quite strong. Stopping Rhino Monster and allowing the Mandalorian the time to do the killing blow. This causes Baby Yoda to pass out, I guess exhaustion, and he stays passed out for the rest of the episode till the very end. Mandalorian finally retrieves the egg, and it looks so gross.
It looks like a mop soaked in dog shit or something like that.
That's a good description.
It's bad.
It looks gross.
It's like a poopy mop.
He finds the egg, he takes it to the Jawas, and then the big reveal, why did the Jawas want this egg? What was so important about it?
It was a Cadbury egg. They chopped it open and started sucking out the yolk.
That's exactly what it was. They didn't even cook it. There was no preparation. There was no ceremony. There was no nothing. They just cut it, chopped the top off, and all dug in and enjoyed the egg.
It was a treat.
It was a treat. So they give him all his shit pieces back. He goes to Nick Nolte. He explains to him what Baby Yoda did. He's confused by it. They rebuild his ship, and then he offers Nick Nolte a job, basically. And I've noticed that the Mandalorian seems to be a very fair guy. Like he constantly he's offering him money, or he seems everyone he deals with, unless you screw him over,
Yeah.
seems to be. He lives by a code. He doesn't. He's not trying to,
Well,
take.
I think a lot of them is you don't want to burn bridges. If you're a bounty hunter and you're making enemies, then that's more people you're gonna have to watch your back against, as opposed to treating people good, living by a code, but treating these people with respect and treating them, with honor shows. If he ever came back there, he could come back to Nick Nolte and talk to him and look for help, as opposed to if he was just like, all right, well, screw you, see you later.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been able to use him again. So as a bounty hunter, you want to keep those kind of people under your belt so that if you need something again, if he came back to that planet and was looking for somebody or something, you could use those as a resource as opposed to burning that bridge.
Nick Nolte turns him down. Basically says, "I'm where I want to be. I guess to live the rest of his life or whatever. And good luck on your way." Mandalorian takes off, starts plotting in his course. Baby Yoda wakes up. Cut to credits. That's it. 2 episodes in, approximately a little over an hour and
Hour and 11 minutes.
for the 2 episodes, and that's where we're at. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the ride. I'm looking forward to the next episode. If I wasn't enjoying it, probably wouldn't do this show. Wouldn't be talking about it. But it's something that I'm actually very much enjoying.
Well, and the content itself is great, but I think that, like we talked about, it being something different. People were complaining about, too much of the Skywalker story, too much of this. But you look at, this is not a Skywalker story at all. The only force that they even showed was, Baby Yoda stopping the giant hairy rhino. That's the only times that the force has even been used in this hour worth of time so far. It's all been something very different. And I like that. But to me, you go back to Rogue One, and we talked about that. There's not a whole lot of force users. There's nothing in there. Even Donnie Yen is, you think, force sensitive, but he's not really using the force. But then you get towards the end of Rogue One, and Vader pops in. And when he's using the force and using the lightsaber and stuff, it's really cool because it's special. It's a very short period of that movie, as opposed to him doing it constantly. So I think this is kind of it's different.
Yeah.
And I like that. The only thing that I forgot to mention was to me it was a nod to the animals within the Star Wars universe when people ride them. So you looked at when they were riding the little fat T-Rexes, the Tauntauns, and the prequels when Obi-Wan was riding the lizards.
Oh yeah.
It's very herky-jerky. It bounces around. It looks like a marionette almost.
Oh yeah.
But to me, look at us riding a horse. Horses are very graceful and smooth, and none of these animals seem like they were meant to be ridden. Like they were. So riding one of them would be holding on for dear life. Oh God.
Yeah.
And to me, that's consistent throughout the Star Wars universe, and I like that because even now, the ability in CG and like all these things, and they still do it like that. To me, it's kind of a nod to the animals themselves as opposed to the quality of the filming.
Yeah.
That was the only other thing I was thinking about.
As I said, we will be posting weekly Sunday night, Monday morning. We'll say Mondays, maybe Sunday night. I don't know. Depends on how long it takes to edit.
Today's Sunday night.
So yeah, that's the show. Do me a favor, check out, there's a site called LRM Online. It's really cool. They do a lot of entertainment news. You can hear me occasionally on their morning show called LR Mornings. They have a show coming up on November 21st. It's a podcast on it's Thursday. There you go. I got the notes here. It's the Last Call podcast. It's on Thursday, November 21st. Cam versus Jammer. These are two guys that have radically different opinions on The Last Jedi. Cam does not like the film at all. Jammer loves the film. It's one of his favorite. They're going to go head to head, breaking down scene by scene the entire film and basically explaining their views and their points. So check that out. It's going to be really cool. And also, subscribe to Pulp Mythos, subscribe to this channel, subscribe, ring the bell, do whatever you got to do to be notified. Go back and check out some of the old videos, the movie night with Pulp Mythos, stuff I want to get back into that I haven't done in a long time. You can go back and listen to our Game of Thrones reviews, Westworld, Into the Badlands, which apparently a lot of people have watched. And I don't even remember what else is on the channel. It's been up for several years now, but haven't posted stuff consistently, but there's a lot of content coming up, so looking to post a lot more. We're looking to not only do The Mandalorian, we want to talk about The Rise of Skywalker. We're going to probably do The Witcher. Westworld's coming back. We're going to do Westworld. There is another Game of Thrones series coming eventually. We're going to do that one. So we were going to do, I wanted to do Watchmen, but I'm not going to do Watchmen.
It's good though.
It is really good. I'm enjoying it a lot. There's the other shows I'm watching right now: Watchmen, Rick and Morty, and The Mandalorian. But I don't know. Give me enough views and request the Watchmen, and we'll start doing the Watchmen. But all right. Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. Thanks for watching. See you next week.